Yes, really proud of our program, everyone involved in our program to get a big win this past weekend, to go on the road and beat the number 6 ranked team in the country. And by winning that game, we were able to bring in College Game Day to Boone, North Carolina. And in saying that, that was a big win for us. That's not our goal. Our goal is to win the Sun Belt Championship, and that starts on Saturday. We have a very good Troy team coming in. Coach Summerall has done a fantastic job with their team, and we have our work cut out for us. So we've turned the page, and it's all Troy now.
Thank you, Coach. All right, our first question has come from CL. CL, please go ahead.
Hey, Coach, excuse me. I'm kind of looking at a bigger picture here. What would you say are the kind of common threads that have led App State to be successful, going back to Sparky, to Coach Woods, and so on to your tenure?
Well, I think it starts with leadership in our whole university. But, we were able to sustain coaches for a while. Coach Moore here was over 20-some years, and Satterfield here was for 6 or 7. And Drink was here for 1 year, and then I'm coming in and try to give some stability to our program. I think turnover is hard in college football, and we've been able to sustain success through coaching changes, but it's been about our players to get the right kind of people, the right kind of players in our organization. And now with Doug as the athletic director, we've been able to fast forward and stay consistent and get the things we have to be to be successful in college football.
And just as a follow, for someone who's unfamiliar with App State football, how would you describe the culture there in Boone?
I think it's a unique culture, and it's a program that based their program off people, and getting the right people in the building, been surrounded with the right people, and we get our kind of guys, and that's guys that come here and value a world-class degree and a chance to play for championships. And I think we do a really good job of evaluating, not off stars, but off what we see with our own eyes. And I think that's paid for us for a long time.
Thank you.
Thank you. And David, if you want to go ahead, David Teal.
Coach David Teal with the Richmond Times-Dispatch in Virginia. The playoff format that was approved earlier this month is the one that Commissioner Gill advocated for, and it's a more inclusive model. Does your success Saturday in the conferences as a whole kind of confirm the wisdom of that and show that college football is deeper than just the 5 money conferences?
I believe it gives us definitely a better opportunity to play in the college football playoff series, but it really goes back to your resume, how you do in non-conference. Again, a win like this past Saturday would put us in talks for that. But when you think about our conference got a lot better in a hurry. And if you can win the Sun Belt Championship and have a great non-conference schedule and win those games, then you should be at least in the talks for that. But I think about what Commissioner Gill has done to really put our conference on a national stage now, and the wins we've had. If you go back to 2019, it's App State, Coastal, Georgia Southern, Georgia State, Marshall, and Old Dominion have all had Power 5 wins, so-called Power 5 wins, and since 2019. So we have great football in our conference. I'm very proud of all the schools, how they represent our conference in non-conference play.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, David. We'll go over to Mike. Mike, please go ahead.
Thanks very much. Good morning, Coach. Good to see you again.
Good morning.
I know you say you're on to Troy, but human nature suggests that this victory on Saturday is going to linger a little bit. So how do you really get the guys locked in on Troy this week? And because I think just personally, it would be hard to put a win over the 6th ranked team in the country in the rearview mirror as quickly.
Yeah, you have a valid point there, but just like the North Carolina game, we get beat 63-61, and we have a 24-hour rule here, and we moved very quickly from North Carolina to Texas A&M, and we have to do the same thing now. Again, these kind of wins are great. It puts your program on a national stage, but again, you said human nature, but we have to do a great job as coaches to make sure our players have the task at hand. And when we talk in our program, our goal was not to beat Texas A&M. Our goal was to win the Sun Belt Championship. And so we have a very mature team. I think they understand that after last night's team meeting that we have to move on. And when you put the tape of Troy on, you can see you better move on in a hurry.
And following up on that, you kind of touched on the team meeting on Sunday, the day after, and you guys had some travel delays to get back to Boone. What was that meeting like, and who really was, from the player side, who was the voice of saying Troy's up, A&M's done?
Well, I think several of our leaders, we have our captains, we have our Mountaineer men's, our advisory board, and again, we have a player-led program, and our players, after I spoke, were the first one to step up and let them know that, hey, listen, that was a great win, but that was yesterday. And we got back in around 10:30 Sunday morning from our trip, and we met at 5 o'clock. So very proud of our guys, our older guys, our leaders that really stepped up. They know what's at hand now as we get into conference play. And this is an outstanding conference we play in, especially on the East, but we have a very good opponent in Troy coming in.
Just real quickly, without obviously specifics, because it is kind of early, but how did you get out of College Station injury wise? Did you guys come out pretty okay?
Healthy. Yeah, we're very healthy. We have some dings, and again, I'm very proud of how we handled the heat. That was going to be an issue going in, but we have a sports football only sports nutritionist did a very good job with that. So everyone was at practice yesterday that played in the game on Saturday.
I know we're really getting started here, so Steve, we'll go to you with the Associated Press.
Hey, Coach, congratulations on the win. Going back to the original question about, you want to get the right people. What two-part question? First of all, what is the right type of player for you? Like when you're looking, what is it about getting an App State guy that you like? And secondly, how much has the transfer portal helped you guys, or has it hurt you guys? Obviously, your quarterback came from the transfer portal and is certainly, found his way there and is having, a great experience there with Chase Brice.
No, I'll answer your first part about recruiting and getting the right kind of guys in. We do things different. I want to get more involved. I'm very involved in recruiting, so I know I don't want to look at highlight tapes in recruiting. So everyone has to huddle their highlight tapes. But for Appalachian State, we go back and do a 2-game review of their game, watch 2 games, and we want to see, when things aren't going well, how do you react? Are you hustling at all times? Are you been a great teammate? And we call the head football coach, and we put that back on him. Would you recruit this kid? Does he love football? Is there any problems with him? And then when we come on official visits, I trust our players. And if the host comes in, I'll ask them, is he an app guy? And if they say no, he's not an app guy, then we don't take them. And that's happened the last 2 recruiting classes. People came on the visits and they thought that they were not an app guy, so we didn't take them. And right, wrong, or indifferent, we thought that was best for our program, the culture we have here. To answer your question about the transfer portal, I do not want to be a transfer you in that aspect of it. I do believe the culture, I want that to be maintained, but with the rules we have in place that we have to go out and find someone to fill a spot, we will. Chase Brice is a perfect example. Caden Robinson is a perfect example. We have a lot of Dex Lawson guys that we have some needs with to fill some spots. We went out and got those guys, but again, with the rules changing now with transfers and how they count against your 85 from the day you sign until they finish, I think you have to be very selective of how you do things and get signed off by the school they're coming from.
Thank you, Steve, and thank you, Coach. Apologize for going over this morning.
Yeah, first of all, let me congratulate Coach Clark, Coach Huff, and Coach Helton for a wonderful weekend. Obviously, that was huge for the Sun Belt, and congratulations to them and their teams for playing well in big games there. We're thankful that we were able to get a win. We didn't play overly well Saturday. Gardner-Webb did a great job of attacking us, fortunate to come out with a win there. So, but the way chaos was on Saturday, we'll take it. And thankful to be 2-0 and moving on to a good Buffalo team coming in here for our third straight home game. A lot of things we got to clean up. So we got a lot of injuries that we've got to, and some guys banged up. We've got to try to get some guys back hopefully here soon. But we'll continue to work to go out and try to be 3-0 this week.
All right, thank you, Steve. I see your hand up. I'm not sure if that's still from earlier, but we'll come to you first if you have a question. All right, in that case, we'll go to Dan McDonald. Dan, please go ahead.
Morning, Coach.
Good morning, Dan.
Was there something that Gardner Webb was doing that sort of tried to take away your running game, or was that just the way the game developed?
Well, they did a good job of doing some different looks and just different things that we didn't handle very well. We gave up the most sacks. I think we had 4 sacks. That's the most sacks we've given up in probably 2 years, Dan. So that obviously hurt you there. And we didn't come out with the same type of intensity and focus that we had previous week. And but we credit them. I thought they did a good job of attacking us, and we didn't attack them back. But a lot of different things went into that. And we were able to, overcome that, but it's something we've definitely got to improve.
You mentioned the bedlam from this past weekend, not just in the league, but I guess some spots across the country. What does that say about where we are in college football?
Well, I think there's a lot of parity, obviously. I think that shows you that there's good players at any level. There's good coaches at any level. And also I think it comes back to is there's so many whether you call it distractions or noise that can take your team away from focus on what's important. And I think that if you take anything for granted or think you can just roll the ball out and, well, we're better than them because they're from a perceived lesser conference or lesser division, whatever it may be, you can get beat. And I think that's what showed all of Saturday, because there was a lot of games, not even in our league, that a lot of upsets happened.
Was your game sort of, I don't know, for lack of a better term, sort of a little impetus for your guys, almost like a wake-up call that something like that can happen if you don't come out and play?
Well, I hope so. We're not good enough to where we can try to feel like we got to wake up anything, to be honest with you, Dan. We've got a lot of new guys that are playing and learning, and I think that was part of it. I think you come off a big win, and then you come in and you're playing a team that's perceived you should be better than. And we're fortunate to win that game. They played that they were way better than us that whole game, but we showed enough resiliency and some grit, which you love to see. We found a way to overcome that. But I can tell you this: if we play that way again, we will not win another game. We'll finish 2-10. That'll be the truth.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, and I see David. I see your hand up. If you want to jump in real quick.
Jamie, David Teal with the Richmond Times-Dispatch in Virginia. You mentioned the parity in college football and the success that some of the Sun Belt teams obviously had Saturday. Does what happened kind of confirm the wisdom of including at least 6 conferences in the upcoming expanded college football playoff and giving more folks a chance?
I believe so. I mean, if you can imagine if that was a playoff scenario and one of those teams was playing one of those other teams as a 5-12 matchup or a 6-11, whatever it may have been. I mean, just imagine the eyeballs glued to that, and then you have a Cinderella running through the dance, so to speak. And that's what makes the basketball tournament so special. Why people love it, and I think that's what's going to happen with college football. You'll get those opportunities, and those players will have those opportunities in a big stage. And so I think there's a lot of wisdom that hopefully we get that. I know it's not till 25 or 26 whenever it's supposed to happen. Hopefully they can get it here quicker, because I think you see with what a Cincinnati did last year, and there's going to be a team in our league that's going to have a great year this year that's going to have an opportunity to showcase what they can do. And I hope anybody in our league that has a great year should have a chance to go in and playing for the whole thing.
Thank you. And Alan, we'll come to you real quick. You want to unmute, Alan?
Yep. All right, Jamie. Yeah, you played 2 games, got a whole bunch of new players, so you look pretty good against Army and not so good against Gardner Webb, probably. So what do you think is a better reflection of what your team is and what your team could be week 1 and week 2?
We're somewhere there in the middle. I think we probably played because of the circumstances of the first game, great crowd and all those things. I think, our guys were excited about the first game, and then the second game, the weather and all that different stuff. I think we're probably in the middle of what I think we can be. We're fighting a lot of different, whether that's injuries or just guys maturing and understanding what it takes each week right now. And that's part of it. We're young and we know that. But I'm convinced we'll be better than what we were Saturday. We'll play better this week. I think you go through some of those learning curves, and fortunate we were able to learn with a win, a lot better than learning with a loss. So we'll improve from this week. We'll be better. And I think we'll be closer to that team you saw first week than the one you saw this past week.
Thank you.
Yeah, we had another great crowd at Bridgeforth, and our players came out, played with a lot of energy, and were intense, flew around. We took care of business early and got to empty the bench. So, you know, it was a good day on the ball field, and, you know, proud of the way the guys came out against a sort of a lesser team and still kept their focus and energy level up high.
Thank you, Coach. Just a reminder, our members of media, if you just use your hand emoji, we'll call on you. We'll go to Maddie first.
Hey, Coach, how are you doing?
Good.
Awesome. So how important is it for you to be able to have a game where you can put a lot of these younger guys into a game and get that experience this early on in the season?
I think it's valuable in terms of game experience and also rewarding people for the hard work and effort they put into it during fall camp and, you know, practice. You'd like to be able to play these guys so that they get that reward and the experience without question benefits them down the road.
And I mean, when you guys have had opportunities where you're getting the ball and you're starting a drive on like the 45-yard line rather than your own 15, like how does that kind of motivate these guys to continue making and get creative with these plays to be able to get down into the end zone?
Yeah, well, the law of percentages are in your favor, and we've got those short fields because we're playing good defense or creating a turnover or doing a good job on special teams. So, and now you're sort of in the freewheeling zone where you can be a little bit more wide open in your play calling too. So we've been fortunate the first two games to have short fields. I understand it won't continue throughout the whole season. We're capable of putting long drives together. But, you know, as long as we're playing great defense and doing a good job on special teams, you know, chances are we'll have a few short fields.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, Maddie. We'll head over to Shane. Shane, please go ahead.
Yeah, Kurt. You know, we've talked a little bit about how, other than flipping those guys on the left side, your offensive line's pretty similar to what it looked like at the end of last year. And obviously, they've done a really good job keeping your quarterbacks clean and everything. Just how important has it been to have that continuity and have a lot of guys who played a lot of snaps together here early in the season?
Yeah, I think it's really important. And, you know, if you can stay injury free, and what you got to remember is these guys are all a year older. So kids mature and they change a lot, you know, when they're young. And we had the benefit of an off-season weight program for the first time really since 2019, a full off season. Because if you remember, we played 2 seasons, you know, in the spring and fall of 21. So those guys are developing, they're getting better. They're still developing. You know, they're going to improve, continue to improve. And I think we've got a chance to have a really good line.
What kind of went into this decision to switch Tyshawn and Tyler there from guard to tackle?
Tyshawn's a guy we've always considered at tackle. And one of our scrimmages, Tyler was out of the scrimmage with COVID. So he had missed 5 or 6 days of practice. That was an opportunity to throw Tyshawn out there. He did really well in the scrimmage. And when Tyler came back, we put him at guard. You know, he really excelled at guard. And now they're still both learning. They're not finished products yet, and they're young guys, but, you know, very encouraged about what they're doing.
All right. Thank you, Kurt.
Thank you. And we'll go to Noah. Noah, please go ahead.
Hey, Coach, you talked about kind of getting younger guys snaps. And at the end of the first half, you put Chauncey Logan in. He was able to, you know, make a breakup. What did you kind of like from him in his first game, you know, at the college level?
Yeah, you know, he's a guy we were very high on, had him in camp. Thought he could compete for a starting position. Missed most of camp with a pulled hamstring. And last 2 weeks, we've got him back out on the practice field. And we play so much press coverage. You're one-on-one out there, so people are going to throw those 50-50 balls. We were struggling on him at the end of the first half. I thought it was a good opportunity to throw him in there. He made a play at the end of the half. He played the whole second half. So encouraged about that. He's going to be a good player.
Yeah, and then you talked about, you know, the short fields. You can kind of get creative with your play calling. You know, last week you kind of talked about some of the play calls that you heard come through. You weren't really sure about until it happened and ended up working out. You guys ran kind of a gadget play with a flea flicker. What's going through your mind when that play went through, and what'd you like kind of from the execution of it?
Yeah, I kind of threw that one in there on him. We'd practiced that one the week before, didn't show it. And I have a different perspective. I try to let those guys go and call the plays, but sometimes maybe you know, I'll see something because I'm looking at it from a different angle. And, you know, it was wide open. It was an explosive play. And, you know, it was an opportunity to get the crowd in the game too.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Noah, and thank you, Coach. Do appreciate it. Apologies to our other members of the media here. We just ran out of time. So thank you, Coach. Appreciate your
Thank
time.
you.
Really proud of how our team responded this past weekend. You come off of an opening loss to Nevada that we were pretty disappointed in, and we challenged each other all week. There was a lot of transparency, a lot of look yourself in the mirror kind of talks, and our kids responded in a very a great manner, especially from a physical standpoint. But finally established the run. Got some explosive plays. Was still left a lot out there offensively, but I'm seeing so many more improvements just from an offensive standpoint. Defensively, we're still playing at a high level. Love the intensity of the front seven. They're being very disruptive, and I thought they did a really good job of getting after FIU throughout the course of the game. But overall, just pleased with how we responded. It was a great win, first kind of non-conference win at home since 2013 here at Texas State. So, just every day we're getting better. Still got to show up. We got a great Baylor opponent coming in. We're going there on Saturday, a national TV game. So it's going to be a great challenge. But where we're at as a program, we still got to take it one day at a time and just keep getting better and keep stacking days. And then we'll go take our shot at Baylor. So questions.
Appreciate that, Coach. Our first questions come from Dan McDonald. Dan, please go ahead.
Morning, Coach.
Morning.
How big was the sigh of relief to get sort of the monkey off your back a little bit?
Yeah, tell me about it. We put a lot of work into it, and we've made so many strides as a program. Just where we were at when I got here in 2019, we've just incrementally gotten better every single year. But sometimes it's not just translating to the field like we wanted to, and it did not translate that first week versus Nevada, and our kids are very disappointed because we know that we were, more capable of what we put out there on the field versus Nevada. And I thought they responded well, and it was just a sigh of relief for everybody. But just more importantly, just happy for our players. Our players put a lot of work into it. It was a great win at home, and they got to enjoy a Saturday night in San Marcos and be with their families and friends. And it was just overall a great experience for our program and our university on Saturday.
I don't want to use the term maturity because he's been around for a while, but was this an example of how Lane Hatcher has sort of added himself to your program?
Yeah, I think Lane's been phenomenal. Like I'm saying, I think just his approach, his work ethic, his leadership has been something that has been missing here at Texas State. And, I know he was disappointed in his first week's performance. He put, a lot of that on his shoulders. He took a lot of ownership in that loss, and he went back to work. You just saw his leadership qualities and his work ethic, and you just kind of saw him chip away at it all week, and he put together a pretty good game. He's still always critiquing himself and always wanting to be better, but just from a competitive standpoint, a leadership standpoint, he brought a lot of energy and sparked us in this game, and hopefully we continue to build off of it.
How happy were you to see a guy like Calvin Hill, who's been around, to break out with one like that?
Yeah, Calvin, just watched him come in. We brought him in 2019 and just seen him just grow and develop throughout our program, and just to see what the type of man he's turning into. Just when he got here, he was 150 pounds soaking wet, and just over the years he's put on good weight. He's showed up every single day and worked, and now he's one of our leaders. And for him to have a career day here at home, in our home opener here at Bobcat Stadium was a special moment for him because he had 195 yards rushing. He still feels like he left a lot out there, but overall that's a great performance, and very proud of the kid.
One more quickly, what kind of challenge, or what's the biggest challenge that Baylor shows you?
Their size and their physicality. I think they're a very physical team. They contest everything from a defensive standpoint. They're going to run the ball, multiple times. I think they ran it over 60 times versus BYU. So it is going to be a very physical game. So, we have to match their physicality, and we've got to get them kind of, thinking a little bit and moving sideline to sideline, and hopefully we can wear them down. But I think Coach Aranda does a great job. They're going to be sound and tough in everything that they do, and we're going to have to earn everything that we're going to have to earn everything when we go out there and play them on Saturday. So, but it's going to be a great challenge for us, and it's going to be great for our university as well.
Appreciate it, Coach.
All right, thanks, Dan.
Yeah, excited for our football team after a good win at Nebraska and excited for our conference. Really, it was a great Saturday. I think anytime that you're trying to build a national brand or get the respect of a country, those type of games, whether it was ourselves, Marshall, App State, are needed to produce great resumes and great reputation. So really happy and proud of our team and our staff for going into a really hard place, a great place to play a college football game, being a tough, hard-fought game and come out with a victory and be 1-0 on the week. And so now we turn our attention to a really good UAB football team and stay hungry, stay humble, and stay consistent, and try to go 1-0 again on the week. I'll take any questions that you have.
Appreciate that, Coach. Again, as a reminder to our members of the media, just use the hand icon to let us know if you have a question. We'll start off with Dan. Dan, please go ahead.
Morning, Coach.
Morning.
Just where do you buy tickets for this roller coaster that you're on right now?
Sure is a fun ride, isn't it? It was a fun ride the other night, to be honest with you. And we talked really a lot as a football team about how mental toughness was going to play into that game and that there was going to be ups and downs in that game, and being able to get to the next play and play the next 4 to 6 seconds and stay supportive with each other and stay supportive as a team. I thought they rolled with the punches, whether it was, getting a lead and giving it up, getting back in the lead, losing a really valuable member of our team in Sam Kennerson right before halftime, and being able to, have the ball last and go on one last final drive for a victory. I thought they mentally showed great mental toughness and really stayed together as a team all the way through.
You talked about that last drive. What were sort of the emotions on the sideline for your guys who hadn't had a lot of success in the last couple of years to have something like that happen right at the end?
Yeah, we've seen a lot of confidence building over the first 2 games. It really started in the second half of our first game, where the guys finally, we know it as coaches what they can do, but the kids being able to say, hey, we can do this. We're pretty good. And we saw that confidence in the second half of our first game, and then, really carried over this second game. And I saw a lot of poise. It was about making the most of the opportunity, whether it was that game or whether it was the last drive. They just wanted the opportunity. And for the offense to go out there and make, when the lights were the brightest, and it was the most important part of the game, they made huge plays down the stretch. That's who they are, and that's what they're developing into, is a confident football teams that know that they can accomplish some great things together.
One more quick question. I lost my train of thought, but you've scored 104 points now in 2 games. Did you expect your offense to really exert itself this way, this quickly?
Well, it all starts with having a good quarterback, and we knew when we got Kyle Van Treese, we knew how important that was for our future, and especially in year 1. We knew that we had the surrounding cast with a veteran offensive line that was coming back, 2 really good running backs, Jordan White, Gerald Green, and a wide receiving core that was better than what people had seen. And given the opportunity, we felt like they could make great contributions. But the key was the trigger man, and to be able to get Kyle, who when we signed, really we thought was an NFL quarterback, having been around some good ones, and knowing what that kid could do, we felt that was going to be ultra important in year 1, and he has really shown up to the part for us 2 weeks in a row. And like I said, our motto right now at each and every position is stay humble, stay hungry, and stay consistent, and that's what good quarterbacks do, and that's what we expect him to do. But we set some expectations for us. We expected to win that game. We expected to play well as a team, and I'm proud of the kids because they met those expectations.
Appreciate it, Coach.
We'll go to Hunter Dawkins. Hunter, please go ahead. Hunter, if you want to unmute yourself.
Yes, sir. Coach, one quick question for you. Using this, seeing the Eastern Conference, part of the conference looks pretty strong. How is winning against this blue chip program going to help you guys through the conference games throughout the season?
Well, I think it builds confidence really do. And I think it was important for all of us. When you look up and see what App State did and Marshall did and we did and Old Dominion against Virginia Tech, it's important for us as a league, to win those type of games as we move forward for the reputation of the league, which we as coaches and I know as presidents, as ADs, feel like it is the premier Group of 5 league. And we want to present ourselves, both now for bowl games and in the future for playoff expansions as, hey, this is a really, really good league and it's a competitive league and it's one that needs to be talked about nationally. And to be able to do that, if you want that, then you better go do some things that cause a stir. And for our conference right now, what they're accomplishing in the early part of this season deserves to be talked about. So proud for our league, proud for our team, and now let's consistently keep that up.
Thanks, Hunter. Mike, I saw your hand up if you had a question.
No, that was actually the question I was going to ask. So I'm all good.
That's great. All right. Well, I appreciate it, guys. And thank you, Coach. Really appreciate your time today.
Thank you, guys. Hail Southern.
Yeah, I was pretty excited about getting a solid win over Nicholls State. And then I got upstaged by about every team in the conference this week. But it sure is a great weekend for the Sun Belt. And it makes you, if you weren't already aware, it does remind us how strong this conference is and how difficult it's going to be when we get back into conference play, as well as our non-conference play, as I have Alabama this week coming up. But we had a good win over Nicholls State. Nicholls State always scares me. I've played them in the past, and they always play strong year to year against our Sun Belt teams. South Alabama and us kind of got on them pretty good this year, but it really concerned me. We played well. Our quarterback had an exceptional night, 80% throwing, just handled our offense very well. Thought we learned something because they scored first and we had a couple of mistakes, got mostly through the first quarter without scoring, and then we put 35 straight on them and kind of got the game under control. But their team did a great job. They have a very good football team. We had too much for them, and I was very proud of our team. We've still got a long way to go in the process that we have, but when you play Texas to open with and Alabama in your third game, you just want to make sure you win that game at Nicholls State, because those can come back and bite you in the rear end. And we were able to come out and play strong, not get people hurt, and now get ready for Alabama game.
All right, appreciate that, Coach. Our first questions come from Dan. Dan, please go ahead.
Morning, Coach.
Good morning.
How big was it for your guys? You get the quick score late in the quarter, and then you're able to come back and get another one right before halftime. How big was that going in at halftime?
It was huge. I mean, we only had a couple at bats first quarter. They had a big long drive. They're only one they had of the day, and you're sitting there saying, "Oh my goodness, this is going to be 60 minutes of just misery trying to win this daggum thing." Then we had a good drive for a score. We got an interception, scored again. And then we went after a punt. And they shanked it for about 8 or 10 yards. And we got a short field and got one in the last 10 seconds of the half. And all of a sudden it went from down 7-0 to up 21-7 going in the half. And that really, with the way we were playing at that point, that really was enough. Then we came out in the second half. Elderman scored to make it 28. And we were able to sub the entire fourth quarter, but it really was important, coming out at halftime, coming off the field, having scored 2 quick touchdowns to get ahead of them. It was a comfort level that you had, but you also began to see the different talent level you could see it on the field. It began to show, and you felt a little more comfortable.
You mentioned Chandler Rogers. What is he doing now that is letting him have success?
Well, Chandler's a good football player. We won some big games with him last year. He got hurt he didn't start at the beginning, and then got hurt toward the end. But while he was in there, we had some of our biggest wins. He's just a really good, very solid quarterback. He can run and he can throw. He's not a thrower that can run or a runner that can throw, but he's very good at both. His demeanor is what I like in a quarterback, that poise under pressure. He's level-headed, but he can throw all the throws, and he can run fast enough to be a very dangerous running quarterback. And so when he's out there, now we dropped 4 passes in the first quarter, or he would have been 24 out of 25 in the game. So he was hot and he was on. And when he plays like he can play, we have a chance to do well on offense in most of our circumstances, regardless of what happens against Alabama. I think the way he plays, he manages our offense very well.
This almost sounds like a foolish question, but what's the biggest challenges that Alabama throws at you?
Well, I think the difficult thing is in answering it, because there's so many answers. I mean, quite obviously, coaches are coaches, and you'd like to think that we had an impact on the game, but 99% of the time, the team that has the best football player wins. I mean, now there are rare moments. I mean, we looked at Appalachian State and A&M and Nebraska and Georgia Southern and Marshall and Notre Dame, and I've been fortunate to coach some of those type of games. But most of the time, you play your heart out. You play as hard as you can, and if the other team has better talent and they don't make mistakes, they're going to win the game. Biggest difference between us and Alabama is the talent level. You're seeing about every player at Alabama, almost at every position, either is going to be drafted next year or the year after or the year after. And so they bring that kind of talent. You can't simulate it in practice with your scout team, and you can't totally get ready for it. All you can do is what other teams in our conference did last weekend: get your guys ready to play, get them to believe that on any given day it can happen, and go out and play the best you can. But it's the talent level is almost always the deciding factor in a ball game.
Appreciate it, Coach.
All right. Thank you, Dan. We'll go over to Mike. Mike, please go ahead.
Thanks very much, Coach. To kind of get your mind off Alabama for about a minute and a half.
Good.
What was the weekend that the Sun Belt went through? I
Right.
know that everybody kind of upstaged your victory over Nickel State, but what kind of a statement does that make for the league itself overall, with the way that Marshall and App State and Georgia Southern performed?
I just don't know if the entire college football world of fans understands how incredible that was. One conference of group of fives, and I'd say our highest paid coach is getting paid less than the lowest paid coach in any of those conferences. Our budgets are lower than any teams in those conferences. And not that we're terribly under budgeted, but we're at a group of 5 level, at a different level. And for them to win the games, and every one of them, I think, was on the road. I think every one of them was on the road, which you have to play these games almost always on the road. Although I think Old Dominion beat Virginia Tech at home last week, which was, I would never have played Old Dominion at home at their place, but I didn't have to. I just think it makes a bold statement for our conference and how good the decisions were to bring in the teams we did to make it a stronger conference. But again, this is my 27th year of coaching, and I've been a head coach at Division III, II, 1AA, Group of 5, and Power 5. I'm not sure you'll see many years in a lifetime with that many big upsets of historically great. I mean, talk about Texas A&M, talk about Notre Dame, and talk about Nebraska. Historically, these are 3 of the premier programs in America from a historical perspective, and for the Sun Belt to knock them off on the road in a week it was truly amazing.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, Mike. We got time for one more from Hunter.
Coach.
Yeah.
Not that I'm trying to get you because I know for each game you have to focus on that game.
Right.
Because of maybe a strategy, is there things that you don't want to put out against Alabama to keep for the first conference game in Lafayette the next week?
I don't think you can even address that issue. You want to go out and play your best football and have the best possible game plan for Alabama that you can have. Because again, you've got to go in there, no matter how much the odds are against you, you've got to go in there with the best possible game plan, expecting that on any given day, it can happen. I just explained how it happened last weekend. don't think you can hide much. And I think you got to do everything you can do to beat them and play as best you can. And then worry about the next game. I don't think you can do a whole much of anything because I know maybe well, what if we get behind? We're not going to show this, or we're not going to show that, or if we can hide something. I just don't know that you can approach a game like this without trying to find every little thing that you think might help you win, and making sure you got that one ready because you never know. Like we just said about this conference. Who would have expected the teams in our conference that won were able to win?
Thank you. And thank you, Coach. Do appreciate your time.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, guys. Appreciate y'all covering us. Appreciate what you guys do to support Sunbelt football and Troy football. Excited to get a win last week. It was good for us. After week 1, playing Ole Miss, really, really tough environment, tough opponent. And our guys battled back in that game. Really did not start very fast against Alabama A&M here at home. We're a little bit sluggish out of the gate. Gave up a lot of yardage early in the game, over 100 yards in the first quarter, and did not extend drives very well. Our offense didn't. And then from that point on, we outgained them 367-76, and really kind of got in sync, got in gear. And finished the game the right way until late, when we sort of emptied the bench a little bit and played a little bit sloppier than we needed to. But really, really happy for our guys to get a win. It's always good to get the bad taste of a defeat out of your mouth. And this week we've got a great opportunity playing against App State on the road in Boone. Apps obviously did a great job last week getting the win at Texas A&M. And will be a very formidable challenge for our program this week, but great opportunity for us. And then grateful for our fans. We had great turnout last week. We sold the season record in tickets here at Troy this year, almost 12,000. So grateful for our fans. It was a tremendous environment here at home. So with that, open it up to questions.
Thank you, Coach. We'll start off with Dan. Dan, your hand go up first. Please go ahead.
Morning, Coach.
Morning.
You talked about the slow start. How big was it? I think you had like 3 touchdowns in a span of about 5 minutes with the second and third quarters, and Gunner threw 3 touchdown passes in that time. How big was that team just to allow you to, that stretch, just to allow you to relax?
Yeah, it was nice. I mean, and I wanted us to jump out and play cleaner, faster. Obviously, I didn't want to make it that interesting that long. But it was good for our kids to have to battle through some things, and our coaches to have to fight through some things. And so, but once we got it going, we scored quickly a lot there, 3 consecutive drives, and found a little bit of a rhythm and hit some explosive plays in the pass game. They were bringing a lot of zero blitz and opened up some shots for us down the field. But was glad to see our pass game execute at a high level once we got established in the game.
You get the honor of opening up Sunbelt Conference play. And obviously things like game day coming to Boone for it, great boon for them, but it's also a great boon for your program and for the entire Sunbelt. What's your reaction to what happened over the last weekend?
Yeah, I think it's a testament to our conference, top to bottom. I think the Sunbelt is really, really strong. And for us to be able to have the opportunity to go play at App after what they just accomplished at Texas A&M this past weekend, and then them to be hosting game day is a great opportunity for their program and really all of the Sunbelt. Apps sort of been the class of this league on that side of the league for the last several years since moving up, and they're a really good football program. I watched them on tape, and there's a reason why they beat Texas A&M, because they're good. It had nothing to do with anything other than them being a really good football team. So we got our work cut out for us. It's a great opportunity for our kids and for our program to go play against what I think is one of the top programs in our league and really in the country.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Well, transition over to Mike. Mike, please go ahead.
Thanks very much. Good morning or afternoon. I'm not sure what time it is actually or where everybody is, but kind of following up on that, you just touched on the game day aspect of it. App coming off that big win. From a human nature standpoint, there's a chance for that game to kind of linger with App and maybe not get as focused on you guys, which they should. So Is there something there that you might be able to perhaps take advantage of with them maybe still being on cloud nine come game day?
Yeah, I don't know about all that. I mean, I think App's a pretty established program. I mean, they're 81-25 since moving up to FBS football. I don't think they're going to get distracted by one big win. And I can't really worry about how they handle success. I have to worry about how our guys handle things. And so I think Sean will do a good job having his guys ready to play. I hadn't seen them not be ready to play very often.
What makes them, you said they're a good team top to bottom. What's their biggest strength that you've seen through their first two games? Because they gave up a lot of points to Carolina and then obviously holds A&M to just 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, they're really good in a lot of different areas. I think probably one of the more impressive things to me from a football standpoint is they had the chance to go win that game against North Carolina, and it was a fast-paced, high-scoring affair, and really could have won the game. And then to win the game against Texas A&M in a very different style of play, that shows you that they've got a lot of different strengths. And I think that's very, very impressive and a credit to who they are as a program. The culture of that program there, it's got a lot of pride, and there's a reason why they've had sustained success through, coaching transitions and those sort of things. And I think Sean's done a great job leading that program. And I love watching them play. I mean, I'm telling you, last time I'm watching them on tape, I like the way they play the game. I respect them a lot.
Thanks very much. Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you, Mike. And thank you, Coach. Do appreciate your time today.
I think, I'm sure you guys have been talking about it, but a great weekend for, for our conference. Certainly for us, we went out and wanted to represent the conference well, playing another group of 5 conference on national television is something that, for us, it's, it's important. And, was proud of our kids and the way they fought through it. Certainly the first half was, say is a struggle, I think is an understatement. Didn't execute very well, didn't play very well. So, still a lot of things for us to fix. I think at times we flashed and shown we have a chance to be a good team. But you are what you do consistently. And so for us, we've got to play all 3 phases for all 4 quarters and start putting that together a little bit. And, this week, certainly, another G5 opponent on the road. And we need to try to do some things a little bit better.
Thank you. All right. First questions come from Dan. Dan, please go ahead.
Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Your offense obviously got a lot of plays, scoring all the points in the second half and so forth. But how big was the defensive performance? Your guys stepped up, had the 5 turnovers.
Well, I mean, we've played really good defense around here for a while, and it's a point of pride for us, and it's something that certainly I don't take for granted. Offensively, we knew with a lot of the guys that we had in the mix and a new quarterback and all those things that, we're going to have some, we're going to have a learning curve and some growing pains and those things. And the defense has done a really good job of being sound, playing really well, and keeping us in games whenever, we're struggling a little bit and aren't clicking on all cylinders. So, the turnovers are huge. It really helped us to, we caught fire there in the second half offensively and started executing much better. And, the defense was able to get us the ball back and kind of keep pouring it on a little bit. So, good team win. Our kids feed off of each other. And I think, when our defense is out there, flying around, getting turnovers, it makes the day a lot better for everybody.
You mentioned your offense catching fire. I think an amazing number is how few turnovers that your team has had during all these wins and so forth. You don't have one already. You don't have one at all through 2 games. How do you emphasize something like that and how important it is with ball possession?
Well, I mean, I think it's a technical thing, and you coach ball security and you coach the technical things that help you secure the ball, not turn it over. And it's not just when it happens. It's when you see it, and every time that we see, a loose ball or we see the ball not being secured or not being taken care of properly, we correct it and we coach it. And, we work on ball tackle drills every day. We work ball security every single day that we practice. But I think our coaches are diligent about coaching it every day, and the kids obviously know how important it is, and they make the adjustments that you have to make. So, I think it starts with quarterbacks making good decisions. You can't put the ball in jeopardy. But pass protection is a huge part of that too, right? When you're not rushed, you make better decisions. The guys that have the ball in their hands, they've done a really good job of being smart with the ball and keeping it secure. And, sometimes, you just got to be smart, and understand when it's time to cross bore the thing and protect it and take contact and go down. And, I think it's a lot of different people. Everyone's got a job to do when it comes to ball security. And, I think it's just a lot of people working hard to make sure that we're doing our jobs and, and hopefully we'll continue to get good results.
You mentioned winning over a group of 5 team, and you've got another one this week. Conference got a lot of notoriety for winning games over Notre Dame, Texas A&M, Nebraska. But how important is it to continue to have success against the peer conferences?
Well, I mean, I think it's huge for us, and it's a point of pride for sure. Whenever, you wear the SBC logo on your jersey, you're representing more than just your team and just, and just yourself. You represent the whole conference that collectively, I've seen grow and change. And, I've been around this conference for a long time, and to see, what it's grown to and what it's come to, I mean, it makes you proud to be a part of it. And, we certainly just want to continue to do our part and represent it well, and our job is to go out there and prepare well for whoever's on the schedule and whoever's next. And, we got to continue to do that and do it in a manner that represents, our program, our team, our community, and our conference well. And, for us, I think all those crossover games are big. In bowl games, we match up with the MAC and Conference USA all the time, and so for us, we've got to continue to, you want to continue to win those games and continue to elevate the conference and make it to where whenever people play the Sun Belt, they know they're going to play a good football team that's well coached, that plays the right way.
What issues does Rice give you?
I mean, they're the best team we've played so far for sure. Watching them on tape, I think that they're unique a little bit, on offense. They run fullback type plays, which, I mean, shoot, no one plays with a fullback anymore, right? So that's a whole new thing. Defensively, they're doing a lot more in defense than they've done in the past. They're pressuring a whole lot more. In the secondary, they're aggressive. They're not gonna give you a bunch of easy ones. They're gonna compete on every ball. And on special teams, they've got really good sound schemes. I think that's a really well coached football team, all the way around. And special teams is no different. And they play with a lot of effort. I think from last year to this year, there's a whole lot of improvement on that tape too. When you watch that team from last year to the improvements they've made this year, you can tell that those guys, they've got a plan. They know who they are. They know what they want to do, and they're really well coached, and they're very disciplined.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, went down to Miami this past weekend and really played well for a little while, all the way through the first quarter, all the way up until about the 10-minute mark in the second quarter. We had the lead. We had made a big play to get it down, inside the scoring territory, and had a chance to get a 2-score lead right there and just didn't execute. Ended up getting back, getting a sack, having to punt. And for there, the game kind of ran away from us. We just didn't make some plays in the kicking game, offensively and defensively. We kind of fell apart right there, which is disappointing. We got to continue to improve. We're just not a very good football team right now. We're not very well coached, and that's on me, and we've got to continue to get better.
Thank you, Coach. Our first questions come from David Eckert. David, please go ahead.
Hey, Will, how you doing?
Good, David. Good to see you.
You too. Saw Malik go down there, I think, in the fourth quarter. Do you have an update on him? And also Brennan Hayes, I don't think we saw him at all. I'm curious if you have an update on his status.
Yeah, Malik Shorts just was cramping, and Brandon Hayes is out for the year. So Malik's fine, Brandon's not.
All right, thank you, David. We'll go to Scott Watkins. Scott, please go ahead.
Hey, Coach, how are you doing?
Doing good, Scott.
Zach Wilkie, all things considered, had a really good debut down in Miami. I thought he showed a lot of potential. How did his performance impact, your decision making as far as, who you're going to use at quarterback this week and going forward?
Well, it impacted a lot, because we want to play the best player. We're really proud of Zach and how he handled it. We knew that it would be a game that he'd have a chance to play well because of the type of defense we're going against. Miami's very simple on defense as far as how they align. They've got really good players, and they just align simple and let them play. So we thought Zach handled it. Zach's a really talented passer. We said that from the get-go. We started 2 freshman quarterback in 2 different games, and they both made some good plays, and they both made some plays we'd like to have back. So we're evaluating it. We got competition Tuesday, tomorrow, and the positive is we got 2 really young kids that are really talented that have bright futures to work with. So we're excited about them.
All right, thank you, Scott. And all right, I see we have someone else with their hand up. Can you just please identify yourself and go ahead?
I think it's Glenn Dyer.
You're still on mute, sir.
You're on mute, Glenn.
Gotcha. Glenn Dyer, 247 Sports. Thanks, guys. Good morning, Will.
Hey, Glenn, how are you?
I'm good, man. Obviously an impressive roster Miami brings to the game. Could you kind of talk about, some of the challenges they presented in that second half? And to that, do you think, defense was on the field? Did they kind of fade down the stretch from being on the field so long?
Yeah, I think we had some chances to get off the field defensively. And, the 2-minute drill right before the half, we had an interception to end the drive, and we jumped off sides, which is on us. And, offensively, we just kind of had some self-inflicted wounds right there. We had a chance to get a 2-score lead when you're on the road at Miami in the second quarter and you're in the score zone. You got to take advantage of those opportunities. And we just don't do that, because we're not very well coached. And we don't do the things that it takes to win games like that. And we've got to learn how to do that and start doing those things, to get this thing over the hump.
All right, thank you. David, I saw your hand go back up. Do you have a follow-up?
Yeah, if I can. Will, I guess, kind of circling back to Zach a little bit. I think, Saturday is a situation that, maybe not every young quarterback responds well to being thrown into that. I mean, what do you see in his mental makeup that allowed him to kind of play the way that he did?
Yeah, so he's always been successful. You know what I'm saying? We knew when we recruited him that he had a chance to be a great player. He's a tremendous passer. He's got great self-confidence. He was a great basketball player in high school. He was a great AAU player. He was great in 7-on-7. He was a great high school player. He's always been that alpha male. And then when you look at the situation, yes, it is Miami. Yes, they are talented, but also it was a good game, for a young quarterback to be playing his first game from the standpoint of, like I said, defensively, they don't throw a lot at you. What you see is what you get. It's not hard to diagnose what they're doing. They let their athletes line up and play. And I'm not knocking them on that. They've won a lot of games and been very successful doing what they do. But it is a relatively easy game for a quarterback to get ready for. So we thought he had a chance to do some good things. He did do some good things. He also did some things not so good, and that we've got to fix. And but we were pleased. We thought he played well enough to give us a chance to win. We got to play better around him, and we got to make plays at critical moments to win big games. And we don't even come close to doing that right now, which is on me.
Sure. Good afternoon. Coming off our second straight week of a Power 5 opponent, had the University of North Carolina come to our place here in Atlanta at Center Park Stadium, which I thought was fantastic to have them roll into town. And then to really go out there and perform the way we did against a quality football program, a legendary coach and head coach, Mack Brown, and have the opportunity to win the game against what I thought was a good quality football team. It didn't work out that way again for the second consecutive week, but we really found we found more about our team in the second week. We improved in a lot of areas. Still some major improvement that has to go on to be able to win those games, but we feel very, very comfortable where we are at this point. Yes, we're sitting here at 0-2. I think our football team is a solid football team. I think we're growing into a pretty good football team, and we're going to have the ability to, what I think, go out and put together a successful start here shortly. We've got Charlotte coming in here this weekend. I think it's a 7 p.m. kick. It's the first night game here at Center Park Stadium in Atlanta. So we're looking forward to that and looking forward to, putting together a new game plan, a good game plan, and trying to get all three phases playing at an extremely high level. We haven't done that. We had a blocked field goal on our special teams unit last week, and we had some just unfortunate yardage that we gave up in our return game, almost to the point it was about 55 yards, I believe. So we've got to field some punts and get some returns in and shore up some things offensively and defensively. But I think we're still in a good mindset, and we're ready to go out and perform.
Hey, Coach, I'll start off with Brady. Brady, please go ahead.
Hey, Coach.
Hey, man.
I wanted to ask about the third down offense. Obviously, it's a 2-game sample size, but I'm sure 27% conversions lower than the benchmark you'd be going for. Is there anything on the film that's showing up that is commonalities between some of the non-conversions?
No, I mean, certainly you don't want 27% on third downs. We all want to improve on that dramatically, and we are going to improve on that. You know, when you look at our film, there's a little bit of some things we should have taken. Some of the times we were handing the ball off where we had maybe a little quick hitch into the boundary. We should have got some cheap yardage on third down. Some of it was, we were coming up a half yard short on just some route running, and we just got to push it deeper past the sticks. And then we've got to put ourselves in a better situation to convert. We understand having more of a short yardage down situation is what we feel more comfortable with. We've got to get in that 3rd and 4 less and have the opportunity to push it across. And, I think we're going to grow in that aspect of it. I think we have a better understanding on this Monday than we did on last Monday. But, we all know you improve each and every week, and good football teams continue to do that. We're going to work on that third down play. We're going to have situational practices in those third down areas that we're going to see much improvement this weekend.
Thank you, Brady. We'll head over to Stan. Stan, please go ahead.
Hey, Sean.
Hey, Stan.
Working on a little something about Robert. He had a great game, 10 catches on Saturday. He dropped one early. What did it mean to him to come back and make a big catch and score a couple of touchdowns? How does that help him in the long term?
Well, the drop was just turn your head, trying to get extra, some more yardage prior to even securing the football. I don't think it did anything to his mentality as far as, not giving him confidence to go out there and play. He plays at a high level and plays with great confidence. I don't think it had any effect. Robert's a special talent. You're going to see more and more of Robert Lewis each and every week. I probably have said this in the past, but over our all season, our summer, and into our preseason camp, he was the hardest working individual we had on our football team. So to see him grow and develop and have a big game last weekend was no surprise. We've got to get him the ball more. He has the ability to run the football as well as, receive the football. There's some areas that we're going to kind of explore with him, but he's a great young man. He's got a smile on his face each and every day. He works very, very hard. And those are the type of individuals that you love to coach. And that's why he went out there and had such a big day. The one drop wasn't going to change his day.
And after a couple of games, who have you seen maybe some of the guys that have less experience that have stepped up and you kind of see good things out of them after a couple of games?
Yeah, there's a lot of guys like that. We have our usual suspects, of course, the older guys out there. But, I really do want to pinpoint one guy, and it's not because I'm an old O-line coach, but we had Bryson Broadway come into the fold here and transfer in from us just from right up the road. And he has really been a great surprise. We knew he was going to be a good football player, just didn't know how quickly he was going to be able to come in and do the things that he's doing now. But he plays at a high level. He has a great talent for the game of football. His physical strength, his mental strength, and just his will to want to be the best he can be is always it's always on par each and every day. And he's really stepped up. That other tackle, Montavious Cunningham, is a guy that, you really thought Jonathan Bass was going to mound that spot there at right tackle. And Bass had a little knee trouble in the fall camp. And here you go. You insert a young man by the name of Hog Cunningham, and he goes out there and he's playing at a high level. It's always good to see those guys that have come along like that. It's just really rewarding because they work so hard and then they get their opportunity and they come in. You see Chris Bird last weekend as a tight end for us. Chris Bird, if you would have asked him going into fall camp, you would have said Aubrey Payne was going to be the starting tight end. He gets injured. Now you go out with Chris Bird. Chris Bird plays 58 snaps, has 2 catches and a touchdown pass, and he did a great job blocking on the edges. So he's a guy emerging. But there's several guys like that. I mean, they're all across the board. I'd keep you here forever because I want to talk about them all, but those are just a few of the guys.
Thanks.
We have time for one more from Mike. Mike, please go ahead.
Thanks very much. Hey, Sean,
Mike.
you talked about Charlotte coming in this week. They come in 0-3 after a conference loss in their opener, losing to a very good William and Mary team, and then a Big Ten opponent in Maryland. How dangerous does that make an 0-3 Charlotte side, knowing that they're just going to be hungry and scrapping for everything that they could possibly get against you guys?
Well, they get to face an 0-2 Georgia State team, so we're pretty damn hungry ourselves. We're dangerous. I mean, I may be on here and I'm a little lackadaisical and relaxed right now, but there's not a lot of smiling faces around our office. And I told them right in there, when you back a dog in a corner, it's going to come out and it's going to bite you. And we understand Charlotte's going to come out and fight. We do, but both of us are looking to get our first win. So, there's no sense of relaxation on either side of the ball. I'm sure Coach Healy's over there, and his food doesn't taste very good today. Didn't taste very good last week or the week before. And I don't even know if I've eaten since the first game we lost. I'm sure you can't tell that, but I'm just saying you're going to have two teams going after each other, and it's. We're going to hit them as hard as we can hit them. We understand they're going to try to do the same to us.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck this week.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Thank you, Coach. Do appreciate your time.
Thank you all very much. Y'all have a great day.
Sure. First of all, would like to congratulate the conference and all the great wins that we had this weekend. I think it speaks volumes for our conference, and it's exciting to be a part of. Also, extremely challenging, as I think it's becoming, and it is one of the best conferences in all of college football. Doesn't matter if you call it Group of Five or Power Five. I think the results speak for itself. So I'd like to congratulate all the teams there. And in terms of our game against Ohio State, I was proud of the way our players competed, but, to get to a point in our program where we need to be just like everyone else in our league, you have to go on the road and you got to find ways to win those games. And even though you're playing a third-ranked team in the country, you're responsible for creating your own momentum when you go on the road, being able to control things. I thought we did a good job. We did not turn the football over. But, when you look at it, the first half, it's 17-9 with about 5 minutes to go in the first half. So we're right where we need to be. We give up a late score, so it's 24-9 going into halftime. Still have a great opportunity. And then the second half, it was, we didn't create any momentum. I thought we lacked intensity starting the second half, and they came out. And it's a great illustration to our football team is, our first two possessions on offense, we go 3 and out. Their first two possessions, they go down and they score. But after those two possessions, they only had 105 yards of total offense and 1 touchdown for about, a little over a quarter and a half, and we outgained them 239-94. So I think it's just consistency and performance. But again, I thought our players, the way they approached it, they went into the game expecting to win. And, games like this, you have to take small victories along with it, but make no mistake about it. Anytime you play, you expect to win. But again, it's what we make of this game, but I thought there was a lot of positive things that occurred from this football game.
Thank you, Coach. Our first questions come from Mike. Mike, please go ahead. All right, Mike, if you want to unmute, you can go ahead. All right, again, a reminder, members of the media, just raise your hand, we'll get over to you. Let's go to Sam.
Butch, after Ohio State turning the page to a rivalry game this week, talk about what that rivalry means to Arkansas State and how you're looking forward to this weekend.
Well, it is, that's what makes college football special, is to play, in these rivalry games. And they're a very, very talented football team, very complete football team in all 3 phases. We have to go on the road. Second straight road game, should be a great environment, but it's what we can control. And again, that's with our preparation this week. But, we had a great game against them last year. We started slow, ended fast, but ran out of time. But, again, when you look at Memphis, you're always going to play a physical football team, different defensive coordinators. So some different looks, some different things that way, different coordinators in general. It all starts with their quarterback. Played as a true freshman last year. Thought he was a really good player last year. So they have really good team speed, weapons. They're physical. So it's going to be another great challenge for us going on the road.
And then just one looking back at this week, Coach, your kicker was 4 for 4 this week. Thought he had a really great performance. Could you talk a little bit about him?
Yeah, I thought all of our specialists kicked the ball very well. When you're playing a talented team like them, everything is op time and kick location, and I thought they did a good job. And then, with Dominic Zavada going in, true freshman in that type of environment, not all those kicks were easy kicks. They were in the mid 40-yard range. And again, our operation was good. Our snap, our hold was good. So I thought they were all in rhythm. We protected, but it was great to see because we're going to need that moving forward. But, in the opening statement, what we talked about is we were 0 for 4 in red zone efficiency of scoring touchdowns. And to beat a talented team or to beat any team, you have to be able to score touchdowns in the red area and not settle for field goals. But been really proud of Dominic. He has a lot of confidence and he's really developing consistency with everything that he does.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Yeah. Looking forward to being able to get back on the field. Just played a very good East Carolina team. And obviously we didn't play the way we wanted to. We didn't execute the way we wanted to or the way we needed to. So looking forward to getting back on the field and being able to play Virginia. And obviously it's another great opportunity for us to play an in-state school. And so looking forward to being able to compete against Coach Elliott and his squad.
We'll start with Mike Barber. Mike, please go ahead.
Hey, Coach, I'm curious, you guys made the coordinator switch there in the preseason. What's the adjustment been like with Coach Reiner? How involved have you been and how well have your players handled that?
No, I think our players have adjusted very, very well. I think that they're pretty seamless. We've got some great leadership on our offensive side of the ball with Nick Saldiveri and Zach Kuntz and Hayden Wolf and guys like that. So we've adjusted well. I think the transition has gone well. I mean, I've actually been pleased with the way Coach Reiner has called the games. We need to execute better, and we need to continue to do things there. Obviously, there's some adjustments that need to be made, and this is any first-time coordinator balancing the coaching of your own position with coordinating. I mean, I don't care if you're 29 years old like Coach or if you're 59 years old. The first time you're ever a coordinator, that's always an adjustment that has to be made. And I know it was one that was different for me when I had to do it. So I think it's just one thing that as you continue to, you get in a better flow for how that needs to work, not only through the week, but during the game as well.
And I thought, I was at your place for obviously the Tech game. I thought Hayden struggled, it seemed like, for a couple of quarters and then really got going in the fourth. It seems like he's put things together here. How would you evaluate where he's at?
Yeah, I think he's throwing the ball more confident. I think he's playing more confident. He's throwing to win the game now instead of not make a mistake. And so I've been really, really pleased with how he's played, over the last 5 quarters. Obviously there's a couple throws that I know he wishes he had back. But that's going to be every quarterback from here until the end of time is going to wish they had a couple throws they had back. I know I can remember them, and those sort of things. So, but I've really been happy the way he's played over the last 5 quarters.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Let's go over to Greg. Greg, please go ahead.
Yeah. Hey, Rick, I'm just kind of curious, having that win against Virginia Tech week 1, does that help at all in terms of experience playing against, in-state team, kids who played against each other in high school, played with each other in high school, help you at all this week going into Charlottesville to play UVA, just with that experience?
Well, honestly, it's a lot of the teams we're playing, right? I mean, the team we just played had a bunch of players that were from, the same region as the guys that we have on our team in East Carolina. We'll have that same experience when we play Liberty. We'll have that same experience when we play JMU. And really through a lot of the teams that we get to play, App State, all those sort of teams. So I think that's one of the greatest things about our schedule, and what makes it so exciting is we do have a bunch of different people who are guys who played against, and they've had rivalries against these guys, some of them all the way back until middle school. So I think that makes the games more exciting. Then it becomes about managing our own emotions and expectations a little bit, and that's something that we've got to continue to focus on.
And just your initial impressions of Virginia. They improved on defense, and what are you seeing from them offensively?
Well, obviously they've got a great quarterback. I mean, he's one of the best in the country. He's got a cannon for an arm. He's fearless. He's a very, very good athlete. He can buy time with his feet and create plays down the field. Does a great job with having his eyes down the field. He's tough. I love watching him play. And so he's got great playmakers around him on offense. Their offensive line, I know, has been a little inexperienced, but each game they play, they're going to be better. So we better be ready for the best game they've ever played because, they keep getting better each and every week. So, and on defense, obviously I have a lot of respect for their defensive coordinator. He does a great job. You come from one of those academy schools, you know how to coach and play, beat more with less. And he does a great job of taking some, fairly complex things and making them very simple and allowing his guys to play fast and play aggressive.
All right, thank you, Greg, and we'll head over to David Seal. David, please go ahead.
Ricky, do the wins that you guys and Georgia Southern and App State and Marshall have over brand opponents just in the first 2 weeks of the season, does that kind of confirm the wisdom of what the college football playoff did in expanding to be more inclusive? And now you'll have at least 6 conferences represented in that bracket?
Well, I think anytime you can be more inclusive, it's a great thing. I think if anything, it confirms the wisdom of Commissioner Gill for building a conference that's regionally located that has a bunch of really good football teams in it. I think that, when you look at our conference, obviously we're continuing to put ourselves in a position where when that finally does happen, we're going to put ourselves in a position where we should be strongly considered for one of those spots. And when we get there, there's going to be a lot of people who aren't going to want to play us. And I think that's something that I know. I've been around the coaches in this conference, and they're great men and great football coaches, wonderful recruiters. So, this is going to be a battle. I think the one thing it also signifies is, we better be ready to strap up and put our pads on when we play each other, because this is going to be a very competitive conference season when we finally get to that.
Thanks, Ricky.
Yeah. Again, appreciate everybody being here. A phenomenal weekend, not only for Marshall, but for the entire conference. I think it really shows, again, what Commissioner Gill and his administrative staff have put together has been something really special. So obviously last week, really good opportunity for our players to go out and compete at a very high level. Really proud of the way they competed, really proud of their competitive spirit, really proud of their collective buy-in to what we were asking them to do all the way back to January when this deal started, and a really good opportunity for them to kind of get a little bit of reward for their hard work. Now, really tough opportunity or a tough challenge, moving forward, to kind of reboot and get ready for a tough Bowling Green team. I think Coach Leffler has done a really good job offensively with their system and what they do. Defensively, they're a multiple front group that's extremely complex with movements and pressures. So we got to shake off the excitement and fanfare of a victory and get back to the process.
Thank you, Coach. Our first questions come from Luke. Luke, please go ahead.
Hey, Coach.
How you doing, buddy?
Good. When you found out about some of the other wins, Georgia Southern, App State, what was kind of your reaction, after a big win of your own?
Did Bowling Green win? I didn't really find out about the other ones until probably Sunday. I think, again, it's probably the best thing that probably could have happened to our team. And I say that, respectfully, because it forces our team to understand that every week you got to be ready to play. I think sometimes when these things happen where supposed team doesn't win and other team wins, you kind of get a little bit of we've arrived, and we can't allow that to happen here. And I think with those type of victories across the country in this conference, especially with all of those being opponents that we play, It really helps us focus in on, we got to do the same thing every week. We got to prepare really hard. We got to play really hard. And we got to execute. It doesn't matter who the opponent is or who the next game is, because there's good opponents, not only in this league, but on our schedule.
Thank you. Again, a reminder to our members of the media, if you have a question, please raise your hand. We'll go to Ivan and myself. Ivan, please go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, Charles. I'm with On Three. Is there some, we're groping around trying to figure out why the Sun Belt teams have gotten off to such a good start. Is there something about the character of the schools, the regional part of it, or where they are in their history? How would you assess the reason for this early success against bigger teams with bigger budgets?
I can't really speak for the other programs, but for us, one, we've got really good football players here that truly embrace the culture and what we're asking them to do from a coaching standpoint. We got really good coaches who are getting our guys dialed in and week out to play at a high level. And we got a really good administration that's given us the resources that we need to be able to make the strides. I can't speak for App State outside of the outside perspective, and the same with Georgia Southern outside perspective. I know they got good coaches because obviously I know them. But in-house, I don't know. I think, again, it goes back to a little bit of each school has got its own unique niche in this conference. Each school's got its own unique fan base and history and tradition. And when you have those things, you tend to attract good players and good coaches. So I think, again, it's a combination of probably those things, attracting really, really good players who have confidence, believe in what you're asking them to do, fit the schemes you're running, and then coaches who understand that, in order to be successful, these are the things we have to do at each school. I know here at Marshall, one of the big things for us is making sure that the kids fit us, so that what we're asking them to do, how we're asking them to do it, they can do it at a very high level.
All right, I would give a follow-up.
No, thank you. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. We have time for one more. Go to Dan McDonald. Dan, please go ahead.
Morning, Coach.
Morning, buddy.
Any danger of a letdown after a win like that, especially with your team having to go on the road 2 more weeks?
Absolutely not, in my opinion. When you prepare through the process, you're not really preparing for an opponent. And if our goal was just to beat Notre Dame, then they should have told me that a long time ago, and I would have took January to July off, and I would have came back in July and put a good game plan together. But I think our guys understand, when we started this deal, our goal was to go out every single week and compete at a high level. Our goal was not to be focused on the opponent or the scoreboard, but to be focused more on how we play. Obviously, in today's world, the pats on the back, make things a little bit difficult to kind of recenter the guys. It's my job, it's the coach's job to get us right back to the same starting point. We said last week, if you prepare any different for Notre Dame than you did for Norfolk State, then you did yourself a disservice versus Norfolk State. So the same thing goes this week. If you prepare any different for Bowling Green than you did for Notre Dame, then you did yourself a disservice. And ultimately, it's about creating value for yourself on and off the field. So if I want to play at my best, I got to prepare at my best every single week. I got to prepare at my best on and off the field. And then I got to go out and play at my best. Not, well, I'm playing Notre Dame, so I have to play hard, but we're playing Bowling Green, so we don't. Obviously, the challenge for myself is to make sure that doesn't happen. The challenge for the culture and the leadership of this program is to make sure that we focus on the things that we need to focus on to have a great Monday practice.
Appreciate it, Coach.
All right, that's all the time we have. Thank you, Coach, for joining us today. I do appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Appreciate everybody. Go Herd.
Yeah, obviously, excited to go up to Mount Pleasant, Michigan, and play Central Michigan this past week and get a great road win. You talk about a team in Central Michigan that has prided themselves on physicality, and I thought, we were the more physical unit on the field, starting up with the offensive and defensive line. Our offensive line has just improved so much from where we were a year ago, along with our running back core. Our defensive line is just playing a dominating style of play right now, both in limiting the run game and creating some havoc in the backfield in terms of passing game. And then, we're executing at a more consistent level than what we did a year ago. And so when you're doing those things, good outcomes are going to be the result. However, I think that, we're playing solid football right now. I don't think that we are playing our best football. There's just too many things that we can improve on in a short amount of time. And so that's exciting as we move forward into week 3 against UCLA.
Appreciate it, Coach. Our first questions come from Dan. Dan, please go ahead.
Morning, Coach.
Good morning.
How big was it for your guys jumping out the way you did and sort of making Central Michigan a little more one-dimensional?
Well, I think, you talk about, we talked about physicality all off season, knowing what to do so well that the how to do it is the overwhelming thought that enters our player's mind before a snap. And I think we're seeing that, right? Tremendous job by Corey Batoon and Major Applewhite as our coordinators and the rest of our offensive and defensive staff. Our special teams is tremendously improved from where it was a year ago, both in overall talent and understanding of what to do. I think our players just know what to do better. And when they know what to do at a high level, they play more physical, and we're playing at a faster rate. And so when you start to do those things early in games, and then you can do those consistently throughout games, you're going to give yourself an opportunity to be successful. And you're also going to make it really challenging on your opponent to stay up with that high standard of execution.
Front. You mentioned that offensive front. You don't get 500 offensive yards without those guys playing well. Did you think they would be gelled at this point this early?
Well, we hoped that they had. I thought we really do a tremendous job in the offseason of taking the things that we do in the film room and taking some of the drill work and those things and applying that to actually executing our scheme collectively, right? All 11 bodies that it requires to be an effective offensive unit. We also have some very talented pieces of the puzzle. You look at our running back core right now. I think we've tremendously improved in that regard, headlined by a guy like LaDamian Webb, who is just a very special back. He's got great vision. He's got great strength and athleticism. And he rarely is taken down by the first one or two tacklers. And then, you look at what Carter Bradley has been able to do in a short amount of time. I mean, obviously he has, probably as elite of arm talent as I've been around for the last few years. But just his confidence in our system and to watch him and Major and the chemistry that they're having in terms of getting on the same page, making adjustments throughout the game. That's 2 weeks in a row that we've seen a different look from a defense than what they've really put on film. And so I think teams are doing some things to adjust to some of the things that we can do from a schematic standpoint. And that's a credit to Major, but also just the ability to adjust on the fly like that. I thought I'm as excited about that aspect of Carter's game as I am anything.
Let me ask you one more quick one. You obviously saw what went on around the rest of the league over this past weekend. You sort of get your shot this weekend. Do you sort of use that, letting your guys know that said, look, I know we tell you this can happen, but look around the league and this can really happen?
I'll be honest with you. We as we get ready and get prepared, we just feel like we are in a place where we can match up against our opponent this week in UCLA. I think they've got a really talented team. I think they do a tremendous job over there. But we like our matchup. And so for us, we really just need to kind of take the steps from week 2 to week 3 that we know that we're able to accomplish and kind of focus on some of the things that we did not do well enough in weeks 1 and 2 as we move forward. As much as you like to play that game of pointing to what a tremendous accomplishment from Marshall and App State and Georgia Southern knocking off Power 5 opponents, I don't really like to get into that game of, hey guys, we can do this. We talk about expectation in our program being way more powerful than belief, right? Belief is the thing that Disney movies are made of, and every sports movie that you can think of, right, is believing that maybe you can be in that moment. Expecting to be in those moments and expecting to execute, I think, is way more powerful, and that's what we're going to be focused on.
Thanks so much, Travis. Thanks everyone for being on. Just want to say an extraordinary weekend for the Sun Belt Conference, really off to a great start. Old Dominion got us rolling in week 1 with their win against Virginia Tech. Then we obviously won 7 games that weekend, and then followed up with week 2, win 10 more games, and with wins over 2 top 10 teams, and then obviously Georgia Southern over Nebraska. So App State beating Texas A&M, and then Marshall beating Notre Dame. Just an outstanding week for Sun Belt football, and it was great that we were able to showcase that on national TV in the way that we have, and really excited about game day, going to App State, just to show the history and tradition and pageantry they have, and for a conference game as well. So their opponent will be Troy, so it'll be good exposure for Troy and a good exposure for conference. So great weekend for Sun Belt football, really off to a good start, and can't be more excited with how we're positioned.
Thank you. All right, we'll start off with Shane. Shane, please go ahead.
Hey, Keith. We've talked before about how when you were the AD at Richmond, you were the visiting team for game day at JMU. The value of that for Richmond, even as a visitors, from a conference commissioner standpoint, then can you kind of put a valuation on what it means to have a conference game between 2 Sun Belt teams on game day this week?
Yeah, it's actually hard because it is so valuable, to kind of think about, just how valuable it is. It really is tremendous for us. Game day is going to be like a great infomercial to showcase Sun Belt football, obviously to showcase 2 of our great universities in App State and Troy. But the whole Sun Belt is going to be exposed for the quality institutions, quality football we have. So it really is immeasurable. I can't be more excited for that opportunity for our league, for our student athletes, for our coaches, and it really is tremendous. I don't know that I could put a value on it because it's really invaluable. I mean, it's just such a tremendous opportunity for us and to showcase our football and showcase the quality of our institutions.
All right. Thank you, Keith.
Shane, we'll go over to Lenny Van Gelder. Lenny, please go ahead.
Yeah. First of all, congratulations on the success here early in the season. Talk, if you will, about just how things, I mean, we got a pretty good idea how things were on these campuses. What were things like in your office yesterday, today, as everybody came in? Was everybody obviously in a little bit better mood? Just your thoughts on, what the atmosphere has been like in your office this morning.
Yeah, I think the atmosphere has just been exciting. We're just really fired up and optimistic. I mean, there's been a lot of energy and buzz in terms of, identifying additional ways to make sure we take advantage of the moment and how we can do that, and what kind of things we're going to activate around, whether it's game day or this week leading up into game day or kind of post these games. So a lot of excitement, a lot of optimism. I think it's positive energy. I mean, you guys have all been around athletic departments enough to know that, you win football on Saturday, you come in on Monday, it's really great. You lose football on Saturday, you come in Monday, it's not so good. So the conference office works very similar, and we really had a great weekend. A lot of excitement, a lot of things to be really excited about, and so that just translates into our mood, kicking off the week.
Follow up real quick. Where were you on Saturday? Were you watching at home? Were you at one of the games?
Yeah, what's interesting is I was at Texas State FIU, and it's so interesting. When I build my schedule in March, the first thing I start with is trying to make sure I can get to all campuses for one home game, and so that's 14 games that I've got to kind of figure out in a mosaic, and I only have about 8 or 9 weeks to do that. I mean, the regular season is about 13 weeks, but with our championships that I need to get to and those kind of things, it kind of cuts it down. So originally FIU Texas State was on a Friday. So my plan was I would go to that game Friday night. I'd drive over to College Station for the App game on Saturday. But then when the Texas State game got moved to Saturday, then I needed to go to Texas State because that was really my campus visit. So that's a long-winded answer so to your question, but I was at Texas State, FIU, and when I was driving from San Antonio to San Marcos, I had the App Texas A&M game on the radio of the car, talking about old school, that I was listening to on the Texas A&M radio network. And then I had my brother-in-law, he was on the phone with me, giving me updates from Marshall and Notre Dame. So it was kind of an interesting way to take in those games. But it was with those outcomes, there was nothing that was going to kind of spoil the joy that I had with those two big ones.
All right, thank you, Lenny. We'll go to Ivan Mizell. Ivan, please go ahead.
Hi, Keith. Thank you. Is there, we're all trying to explain this, and it may be inexplicable, to capture why this was a magical weekend. Is there something you can look at globally across the conference to point to the success? Was it scheduling philosophy? Was it, just the nature of the campuses that have come into the Sun Belt? What do you think about when you wonder why?
Yeah, I really do think I give all the credit to our CEOs and ADs in terms of their just vision for football, the investments that they've made in football, the way that they've tried to go about kind of hiring that. So on a global perspective, I really do think it's the plan that our CEOs have had from a long time in terms of how to grow football programs and brand in this conference. And then I think obviously you got to give the credit to the coaches and student athletes who actually executed. So I think globally it's really, relative to our CEOs and ADs and their good planning, good thinking, really good approach to how they have built strong football programs. And then, to the execution, it's the coaches and the players who, we've got great players here. We've got great programs who are kind of undaunted going into storied places and places filled with winning tradition. And, they're really committed to going out and kind of making their own history and making their own memories. And so I think when you put all those things together, I think you can have kind of weekends like we had last week.
Is there a common theme among these plans that have been executed?
You know what? I certainly think the investment in football generally. I think that's one thing that's been, really important. And if you look at our facilities, our football operations facilities, kind of the renovations that we've had to our stadiums, those investments really have taken off. If you look at the quality of our coaching staff and how we've invested in those staffs, I think those things have really mattered as well. And then the way that we support our student athletes, whether it's tradition, strength and conditioning, whether it's any of those kind of benefits and amenities to help them get better in terms of their championships. I think our CEOs and ADs have really built good plans on their campuses to make those things happen in a way that gives us, it allows us the ability to compete no matter who the opponent is.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ivan. Dan, I see your hand up. Dan McDonald, please go ahead.
Morning, Keith.
Good morning, Dan. How are you?
I'm good. Not as good as you this morning. Do you have to stop and sometimes remind yourself that this league's only been playing football for just a little bit over 20 years, and that, back then Wright Waters is having to beg and cajole schools to come aboard with football?
Yeah, no, I think about that often, Dan, particularly because of Wright. None of this happens without his vision and his thought and his planning. And so I, give him so much credit in terms of having the vision to start Sun Belt football 22 years ago. Travis and Bert and Kathy have all been on this staff for the last 16 years. And so they certainly have been and seen the ups and downs of Sun Belt football. I'm starting my 4th year. But I certainly understand the history from them and certainly from reading it. So I try not to get too high and too low. It's sports. And so the next loss is always right around the corner. So you don't necessarily want to get too high, but you do want to celebrate the victories when they happen. You do want to acknowledge the progress that we've made and the development that has happened in Sun Belt football. And I do think it's been great this weekend to be able to show the entire country, the quality of the football that we play in the Sun Belt.
I could ask you one more about the game day trip. This is normally the time of year that they're spotlighting intersectional rivalries and big non-conference games. You've got them not only out on one of your campuses, but you've got them on your campus for your very first conference game. And this is kind of a confluence that is that's got to be really beneficial to the entire league.
Absolutely. I mean, I feel so fortunate. I feel so fortunate, in terms of them going to App State this weekend, because the game is against Troy, so it's a total kind of Sun Belt, extravaganza in terms of its conference game. It's Troy, it's App. Obviously, we've had some great things that happened to us this past weekend, so there's a lot of good storylines there, whether it's Georgia Southern and Marshall, and hopefully South Alabama can have some success against UCLA, and we'll be talking about that as well. So I do think we're very fortunate in terms of that it is a conference game, and we really get to showcase, two of our great institutions and the league as a whole. And that's going to be great, because at the end of the day, we're just trying to, tell the nation and show the nation the quality of football that we play in the Sun Belt. And this is another opportunity to do that.
If I could ask one more quick one, just for the home team over here. There have been weekends in the past that the headline coming out of the Sun Belt would have been Louisiana and South Alabama taking wins over peer conferences. Obviously, that's still important, but how big is it to get the Power 5 wins?
Yeah, I think anytime you can get an A5 win, that's great. I mean, just because I think it sets you on a different stage, and nationally, you really, we led off, college football final. There's a lot of things written about us in ways that they're just not when you have those pure wins. So I think, anytime you can beat an Autonomy 5 school, I think that matters, and there's a relevance in that just helps you from a branding standpoint. That being said, it is really important for us to take care of business against non-A5 schools as well. At the end of the day, we want to beat everyone in FBS. Anybody that we play that's an opponent on our schedule, we want to win those games. And whether that's Autonomy 5 schools or non-autonomy schools, I think we look at those the same way in terms of those are opportunities to win games and move the conference forward. That being said, there's a little more relevance nationally when you beat an A5 school. And I think that helps us from a branding standpoint and a perception standpoint.
Appreciate it, Keith.
All right, thank you, Dan. And seeing no other hands up, that will conclude this week's press conference. Commissioner, thank you for joining us. We do appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it. Thanks everyone for being here.